I was clutching the 5th revision of the Caldwell showroom design draft when I stopped outside the heavy mahogany doors of the top-floor executive suite, my thumbs creasing the A3 corners into deep folds. Half an hour earlier, assistant little Emma had sent a panicked voice note on WhatsApp, "Serena, whatever you do, don't be late." Yesterday, the boss sent the secretary straight to HR because her pour was off, 70 degrees instead of 85. But the morning rush on the loop turned into a multi-car pileup. I gripped the wheel, fingernails biting the leather, while the GPS droned, estimated delay, 1 hour. I yanked the car onto the shoulder, grabbed the roll of drawings, and sprinted to the subway. By the time the elevator read of 48, I was 10 minutes late, sweat still dripping and blurring the edge of the draft. The door swung open onto a wave of cedar and bitter drip coffee. The office was glacier white. Beyond the glass, the city sparkled, but inside the scratch of a fountain pen on bond paper was the loudest sound. The man behind the desk didn't look up. The cuff of his bespoke black suit flashed a silver link engraved with a tiny L, with surgical tweezers. He lifted a page, turning it as if one wrong breath would shred the fibers. "Designer Serena." His gaze finally lifted to the roll under my arm, then to my sweat-damp bangs. His voice sounded freshly chipped off an iceberg. "This asymmetric display case of yours, planning to fracture a client's leg and double our legal workload?" I stepped forward, offering the ergonomics report. "Caldwell, I ran 3 simulations. The 3-degree tilt keeps the tech vibe. 0 collision risk. 6-year-olds can sprint past it. Here's the data." Before I finished, the tweezers speared the drawing, ripped sideways, rear up, splitting the fresh print straight down. Paper snow fluttered over my new cream dress, splattered with brown coffee that had jumped from his cuff. I lunged, caught half. The other half kissed the carpet beneath his black Oxford. I said absolute symmetry. He flicked the tweezers into a crystal ashtray with a ping, his eyes flat with distilled disdain. "Error under 1 millimeter. New draft in 3 days. Fail. Gone. Penalty clause, 3 million. 3 million, half a year's rent for my studio and 5 salaries. I'd just given raises. Suppliers were still unpaid. I crushed the half sheet, knuckles white, but swallowed every plea. This man radiated a force field. No entry for sob stories. In the corridor, the central air knifed down my collar. Little Chin darted over, shoving tissues and a bottle of warm milk at me. "Don't take it personal, sis. The boss is pathological about perfection." He lowered his voice. "It's the white moon thing, Rachel. Top design school abroad. Symmetry genius. They were finalists for an international prize together. She left for grad school. Ever since. He can't stand asymmetry." Your style punched right into his scar. The milk was warm. My insides weren't. So I didn't even earn the right to be trashed on my own merits, just resembled somebody's ghost. I jabbed the straw, sipped, and then watched Lucian's PA emerge carrying my torn half-drawing, frown, and dump it. All those late-night revisions, ash-canned. My throat stung. I trudged back to the studio at 8 p.m., lights off except the lamp on my desk haloing blank vellum. Lucian's scissor stare kept replaying, and the glimpse I'd caught of the photo in his drawer, the girl with dimples. An anemone bracelet on her wrist, identical to the one Mom left me, chain pattern and all. The night Mom died had been this cold. I fingered the bracelet, tears blotting the paper. At 2 a.m., I dozed, cheek on drafting table, nightmares full of Lucian's glare. I woke to an unopened cup of hot cocoa, unsweetened, the brand I like, and a squared-off sticky note. Asterisk, don't faint from low blood sugar. Finish tomorrow. Asterisk, the handwriting matched the contract signature I'd studied, every stroke engineered. He'd gotten a key from Little Chen, probably to keep his 3 million insurance policy breathing. I almost tossed the note, then smoothed it and tucked it into my portfolio. On delivery day, I slid an almost invisible anemone sketch into the lower right corner of the showroom plan, Mom's quiet company. I even tweaked the ink density so it wouldn't tilt the symmetry. Lucian flipped pages. 3-second rule. Until the last sheet. His finger stopped, tracing the flower for a full count of 3. Cold through the vellum. "Who told you to add this?" Softer. Still interrogative. "My idea." I lied, sweating. "Cold metal needs a breath of life." Tiny. "No effect on alignment. I can delete. Don't let it happen again." He hurled the roll back. "Project proceeds. No fluff." But through the closing door I saw him slide that page out, prop it beside the photo, comparing the 2 anemones. My pulse hiccuped. The flower mattered. 3 weeks in, I'd acclimated to his mania. Metal samples had to be polar white yet matte. So suppliers mailed 10 swatches for spotlight tests. LED strips needed, detail revealing, but retina kind, lux. And he personally walked Riverdale with a lux meter, triple reading every foot. Floor seams had to line up on the axis within half a millimeter. Crews relasered all day. Every time I hauled new mock-ups, he excavated fresh imperfections. Yet each midnight, dinner arrived via Little Chen, First shrimp scrambled egg rice, a mom's standby. Next, tomato beef noodle soup after I'd said craving spice, then century egg pork congee when I coughed twice. Little Chin shrugged, boss says work better fed. When I asked Lucian, he grunted, starvation slows CAD hours. I often bumped into him after hours inside the half-built hall. Humming machinery, stacked drywall, he'd sit alone by my anemone case. Phone bright in hand, gaze lost on the silver petals. Spotting me, he'd snap shut. Mask on, why so late? Minor edits, deadline, I'd mumble. Unrolling vellum on a makeshift table. He'd open his laptop, pretend to email, side-eye checking. Once, I hunched too close to a pallet. It teetered. He yanked me behind him. Boards crashed. Dust all over his suit. Careful, he rasped, brushing my shoulder. Fingers warm. We worked in silence another 2 hours. Then shared the service elevator down. Fluorescence carved his profile. Purple shadows under his eyes, confessing sleepless nights. Then came the day Rachel landed. I was double-checking casing height with the laser measurer when stilettos clicked across concrete. White couture dress, pearl brooch, hair floating like an ad. She looped her arm through Lucian's, dimples flashing, mirror image of the photograph. So this is the new showroom, she cooed, scanning until her stare pinned my anemone bracelet. Oh, designer Serena likes anemones too. I taught Lucian to grow them. He had this bracelet custom made for me, only one in the world. Look, she twisted the chain. Inside a petal glinted a tiny xia. The laser measurer slipped. Clang, heads turned. Gossip buzzing, copycat, stand-in. Lucian didn't refute. Rachel's back, touring the site. Keep working, he said, a flicker of panic crossing his face. But Lucian, Rachel sing-songed, hers looks like a knockoff. Mine was hand-forged in Italy. Link's unique. Hers is common. Red nails flicked my chain. I bent for the measurer, cheeks burning, while she continued admiring her showroom, my hours, my anemone. My heart folded into CAD layers, now suddenly hers. My fingertips went ice cold, instinctively closing around the silver links of my bracelet. The only thing my mother left me. She'd lain in that hospital bed, held my hand, and said, your grandma passed this down. Wear it and you'll stay safe. I'd never cared whether it was hand-wrought, only that it mattered to me. But beside Rachel's deliberate comparison, my bracelet looked like a cheap knockoff, and I myself became nothing but a copycat. Rachel, stop. Lucian finally spoke, yet not to defend me. The designer's bracelet, mine had a matching one made for good luck on the project. His voice was soft, but it slammed into my chest like a sledgehammer. The word, matching, stabbed like a needle. All at once I remembered those late nights in the showroom, the hot cocoa and sticky notes he brought, the way his fingertips brushed the anemone motif. Turns out the tenderness wasn't meant for me at all. It was meant for her reflection, for the bracelet that looked like hers. That night I sat in my studio, opened my laptop, and filed my resignation. I attached every finished design draft, even typed up every construction note. The instant I hit send, my phone rang. Lucian's voice was colder than usual. Serena, what do you think you're doing? President Caldwell, I'm not up to the job. I can't handle your project. I fought to keep my voice steady, but tears were already brimming. I'll pay the penalty clause bit by bit. The drafts are all organized. A replacement designer can take over easily. Please arrange the handoff as soon as possible. Pay it off. He gave a short laugh laced with contempt. 3 million? How many years will that take? Does your little studio even clear 30,000 a year? Either finish the job or come to Caldwell right now and sign the compensation agreement. Don't throw a tantrum. I hung up, clenched the strap of my bag, and sprinted for Caldwell. The subway was jammed, wedged in the crush. I finally let the tears fall, burying my face in my tote so no one would see. When I burst into his office, he was staring at a monitor displaying Rachel's Instagram. The newest post, the two of them in a high-end restaurant, her curled against him. Caption reading, home again, someone to welcome me. Still the same familiar taste. He saw me, a flicker of panic in his eyes, and quickly closed the page. The click of the mouse sounded deafening in the hush. You came, Lucian. You treat me like a stand-in. Why won't you let me go? My tears spattered across his desk, blooming into tiny wet stains. I'm not Rachel. I can't whip out her symmetrical designs, and I refuse to be anyone's shadow. If you love her, go to her. Don't keep me as decoration. He rose abruptly, strode over, hand lifted to wipe my tears, then froze an inch from my cheek and seized my wrist instead, firm enough to anchor me, gentle enough not to hurt, as though afraid I'd bolt. Who said you're a substitute? Serena, quit the dramatics. The project isn't finished. You're not leaving. Just then his phone chimed. The screen flashed, Rachel, the caller photo, still their selfie. He glanced at it, the hand gripping me slackened, his tone softening by 30%, carrying a tenderness I'd never heard from him before. What is it? All right, I'll pick you up right away. French food or sushi? I'll have the kitchen prep. Call ended. He didn't look at me, just snatched his suit jacket from the chair. I've got to go. We'll talk tomorrow. After he left, I sat in his leather chair, tears streaming. My gaze drifted to a half-open drawer. Wedged inside lay a crimson folder, betrothal agreement, in gold-embossed letters. Groom's signature, Lucian. Bold and decisive. Bride's blank, Rachel. The ceremony was set for Saturday next, the day after the showroom's completion, so every plea to keep me was only to ensure his first love received a flawless engagement gift. I slid the folder back, closed the door softly, and walked the late-night streets. The wind made my tears run faster. Had Mom still been alive, she'd have hugged me and said, "Sweetheart, don't suffer. Come home. I'll make your favorite shrimp scrambled egg rice." I didn't leave. Not because I feared the $3 million penalty. I needed to witness Lucian proposing to Rachel, so my heart could finally die. The way Mom used to say, you have to hit the wall before you'll turn back. The next few days, I operated like an unfeeling drafting machine, submitting drawings on time, checking samples, tracking construction, limiting speech to yes, sure, got it. Even the interns noticed something off. Little Zoe from design whispered, "Sue, did you fight with President Caldwell?" Assistant Chen used to ask if you wanted extra rice. My pen gouged a dark line across the vellum. Nope. Just tired. Actually, I knew Lucian still watched, telling Chun to swap the greasy canteen meal for the mild congee I'd craved, dimming the showroom spotlights on the security feed so I'd rest my eyes, instructing the electrician to brighten my desk LEDs to protect her sight. 1 midnight, dozing on my arms, I half sensed someone drape a coat over me, a cedar and bitter coffee. I jerked awake to his retreating silhouette. A sticky note fluttered from the pocket. Showroom temp raised 2 degrees. Don't catch cold. I hugged the coat, the scent making my nose sting. I'd long known he wasn't truly cold, yet the word substitute stayed lodged like a splinter I couldn't pull free. 3 days before the engagement party, Rachel visited my studio. Champagne designer suit, limited edition Hermes. 2 bodyguards hovering with hands inside their jackets, visibly menacing. Designer Sue, let's talk. She crossed her legs on my sofa and signaled. A guard tossed a Metro pregnancy report onto my table. Clear as daylight, gestational age 4 weeks. Patient signature, Rachel. Doctor's stamp and all. My heart skipped. My fingertips were icy against the paper. "WH, what do you want?" I forced out, voice trembling. Rachel smirked, toying with the pearl clip in her hair. "Serena, I'm carrying Lucian's baby. We're getting engaged Saturday. Be smart, resign, leave town, stop clinging, or I'll make sure you never work in design again, and your little studio won't open its doors tomorrow." "I'm not clinging," I said, nails digging half moons into my palms. "The moment the project ends, I'm gone. You don't need to chase me." "Gone." She rose, stepped close, lowered her voice. "Perfume thick. Think he keeps you because you're talented? Dream on. It's because I'm the template. Even that anemone bracelet is a copy. He spent 3 months in Italy learning silverwork just to craft mine. Yours screams flea market. How dare you flaunt it?" Her words knifed straight into my worst fear. I shoved her aside and ran, tears blinding me, knocking over a planter. I didn't even notice the black Bentley idling outside until Lucian climbed out and caught my shoulders. "Serena, what happened?" Before I could speak, Rachel hurried over, snaked her arm through his. Voice suddenly fragile. "Lucian, I only wanted to clear the air so she won't misunderstand." She lifted the pregnancy report, hand resting protectively on her still flat belly. "The baby's so small. I don't want him hurt. Or you torn." Lucian stiffened, eyes riveted to the paper, shock, hesitation, a flicker of helpless struggle. After seconds he turned to me, voice barely a breath. "Serena, I'm sorry. You'll get double the final payment. After that, let's not meet again." "Lucian." I shook, disbelieving. "You saw her bully me." "No, I never pestered her, and you still take her side. Just because she's pregnant?" He didn't answer. Gently he moved Rachel behind him, as though installing a barrier between us. "Serena, that's enough." Weariness lined his face, and pain glinted beneath, but the words were icicles driving into my heart. Watching them walk away, handsome prince, perfect princess, I felt superfluous, frozen even while breathing. Back at the studio, every glance accused me. Rachel's gossip had traveled. I locked myself in, hauled out every Caldwell-related draft, piled them on the floor, flicked a lighter. Flames curled around the pages, asymmetric display case, anemone motif, LED strip layout, devouring my months of longing and grievance until black flakes drifted like a joke. Tears hissed on the ashes, yet among the cinders lay a half-burnt scrap. His handwriting singed at the edges. Starry anemone shelf moved to 1.2 m, so kids can't bump it. Don't stay up revising. Eat dinner. The paper was soft, folded and unfolded. Prints of his fingertips evident. I knelt, brushed off soot with a tissue. Tears falling again. He'd studied my files, tweaked details, remembered my worry about children knocking the case. So why didn't he trust me? Why choose Rachel? Suddenly the studio doors burst open. 3 security guards from Caldwell strode in waving an official document. Serena, we're Caldwell. Someone reported you leaked the showroom plans to a competitor. Here's the search warrant. Before I grasped it, they were ransacking desks, cabinets, even yanking out my computer tower. Rachel appeared, brandishing a printed bank wire receipt. Look. Proof she took dirty money. $500,000. Lucian trusted her and she betrayed him. The receipt bore my name. Transfer amount $500K. Memo, design scheme balance. I had never seen that money. The date was last week, when I'd been supervising installers at Riverdale. Total forgery. I didn't do it. This is fake. I lunged to grab it, but guards pinned me against the wall, arms wedged painfully behind me. Just then, Lucian arrived. He stood in the doorway in a black suit, his face pale, taking in the trashed office and the wire receipt in Rachel's hand. His eyes filled with disappointment and something almost like pain. Serena, I never pegged you for this. I gave you the project, trusted you, and this is how you repay me? I didn't. I sobbed, shaking my head and fighting the guards so hard my nails scraped the plaster. Lucian, believe me, Rachel faked that. She's lying. Check the date on the receipt. I was at Riverdale all day. The security cameras will back me up. He said nothing, only closed his eyes. When they opened again, they were ice cold. He flicked his fingers at the guards. Take her down to legal. The 2 men pinned my arms. I thrashed and twisted toward Lucian, but he turned away, sparing me one last glance as he said to Rachel, go home. I'll handle this. At the threshold, I spotted Little Chin lurking around the corner, winking and flashing a tiny, don't worry. My heart lurched. Maybe the game wasn't over. Maybe Lucian hadn't really abandoned me. The guards marched me to Caldwell's legal floor, yet they didn't shove a single form at me. They simply locked me in a small conference room and even poured me a cup of hot water. The window looked down on the building's atrium and the traffic swirling below. I sat gripping a half-charred scrap of paper, tears dripping onto it, blurring the ink. I replayed our first meeting, Lucian coldly ripping my design draft. The night he draped his coat over me in the darkened gallery. The way his fingers had hesitated at the anemone motif, frame after frame like a movie. But the words stand in. Fake pregnancy. Forged proof kept dousing me with ice water until I no longer knew what was real. At 8 p.m. the door finally cracked open. Little Chen hurried in with a thermal food jar, worry all over his face. Sis Sue, you've suffered. The CEO asked the canteen to send century egg pork congee, extra ginger. He said, so it warms your stomach. You must not have eaten. I ignored the jar, eyes burning. Why doesn't he believe me? Why did he let them drag me here? He set the jar down, glanced left and right, then slipped a medical record from his pocket. Don't be mad, sis. He's caught between rocks. Read this first, his file. I flipped it open. Page 1. Lucian, severe insomnia with anxiety. Needs anemone scent to relax. Sleeps normally only when Serena is near. Stapled behind it were Metro's diagnostic letter and a sleep study report. Before I took over the project, he had averaged 2 broken hours a night. After I joined, the graph climbed to 5 full hours. Sometimes an entire night. Sis, the CEO gagged me. But I can't watch you hurt. Little Chen's eyes reddened. Rachel's pregnancy report is bogus. She's not pregnant. She got a crooked hospital pal to write it. Lucian sent his personal physician to check. The guy is her cousin, and clammed up until Lucian threatened to kill their cooperation deal. Then he caved. He swallowed hard. The wire receipt is photoshopped too. The account was opened under a fake ID. The money never reached you. But Caldwell and the Vance family have a $1 billion clean energy JV. Vance swore that if Lucian won't get engaged to Rachel, he'll scrap the deal and blackball Caldwell. With the IPO plan on the line, Lucian had to play along. His voice cracked. Every night he sneaks into the gallery and naps beside your anemone display. He still only gets 2 hours. The day he tore your draft, Rachel was next door sniffing for flaws. He wrecked it on purpose to keep your personal touches and you out of her crosshairs. The hot cocoa, sticky notes, code at your studio, all him. Stubborn jerk just won't admit he cares. And today, pure theater. He feared Rachel might hurt you worse, so he staged the arrest. Notice the guards didn't rough you up, just brought you here and even gave you hot water. His words were a key flinging every lock inside me. The cold mask had been protection. The compromises, forced. Every ruthless move, covert shielding. I squeezed the file, tears splashing into the congee, swallowing salt and warmth together. Where is he now? I jumped up, desperate to see him, to say I believed that I would stay. Top floor boardroom, negotiating with Vance. Little Chin caught my arm. You can't barge in, Rachel's there. What if she frames you again? Lucian said he'd come the minute it's over. I don't care. I wiped my face, steady and sure. I'm going to tell him I trust him, and we'll face it together. I slipped past Little Chin and sprinted for the top floor. Outside the boardroom I heard shouting. Vance's voice boomed with threat. Lucian, don't push your luck. Rachel is carrying your child. You will get engaged. Or Caldwell is finished. I've greased the skids with 3 other firms. One word and your stock dives tomorrow. She isn't pregnant, Lucian answered, calm and iron cold. My physician has verified it. The pregnancy report is forged. Walk her to Metro right now if you doubt me. We can keep the JV, but an engagement is off the table. Who I love is none of your business, and never will be. You're chasing that little designer? Vance sneered. A nobody from a nobody studio. She worthy of you. Wake up, boy. Marry Rachel and Caldwell sails to glory. I shoved the door open just as Rachel swung to slap Lucian. Her gentle mask dissolved into fury. I darted between them and seized her wrist. Enough, Rachel. The pregnancy paper is fake. The receipt is doctored. How long did you think you'd fool him? Lucian knew ages ago. Her face drained white. She shrank back, stabbing a finger at me. Lies. Lucian, don't listen. She's jealous. She'd do anything, even copy my anemone bracelet. Lucian stepped in front of me, shielding me, his eyes pained and soft. I never believed her. I believe you. He turned to Vance. Vance, the partnership ends here. Caldwell can lose one project. Skip the IPO, whatever it takes. I won't trade my feelings or let the woman I love be bullied. Vance shook with rage, jabbing a finger. Fine, we'll see who regrets this. He stormed out, dragging Rachel, who hurled one last venom glare before the door slammed. Only the 2 of us remained. Lucian brushed my hair back, fingers trembling. Warm. I'm sorry you were scared. I should have told you everything. I'm okay. Noticing the bloodshot webs in his eyes, I traced the bruise of exhaustion beneath them. But don't carry it alone anymore. We'll do it together. His ears flushed crimson. He looked away yet laced his fingers tight through mine, afraid I'd vanish. A few days later Riverdale hosted the annual design symposium. As Caldwell's lead designer I had to accompany Lucian. We just reached registration when a familiar voice rang out. Nyen Nyen. Long time. I turned. Julian stood there in a cream knit and slim silver glasses. Dimples flashing. Julian, the healing design celebrity and my senior year show partner. He smoothly took my document tote, his knuckles brushing mine. Heard you landed the Caldwell project. Had to see. Your language is still magic, unchanged. When did you get back? I laughed. 3 years ago he'd left for grad school abroad. Schedules and time zones had pulled us apart. Now here he was. Came home to open my own studio. Caught this expo on the way. He drew out a gold-stamped portfolio, his new monograph. The cover showed his trademark Starry motif. Our old piece is inside. Saved you a signed copy. You always said it was our best. That one day we'd design for kids together. Starry, our college award winner. We'd pulled 3 all-nighters lining a cabinet with phosphorescent paint so it glowed like galaxies when the lights died. It was the first time I believed design could cradle a child's dreams. I reached for the book, but my wrist was clamped in an iron grip that made me flinch. Lucian stood beside me, face storm black, necktie askew, knuckles white. Designer Sue, time to greet the hosts. His glare at Julian could have frosted steel, yet his hold on me loosened so he wouldn't hurt me. Julian glanced at our joined hands, amusement flickering, and offered the monograph anyway. No rush. Later's fine. Caldwell, big admirer. Saw your project at the International Design? Bold concepts. Designer Shin, Lucian answered. No handshake. Only a curt nod. Then, to me, voice like granite. Your blood sugar's still low. Don't stand too long. He bent and scooped me into his arms in one fluid lift, daring me to protest. Lucian, mortified. I clung to his neck while cameras flashed around us. Put me down, everyone's staring. He only tightened his grip, calling over his shoulder. Sorry, my wife's feeling faint. Excuse us. Wife. We hadn't even labeled us yet. In the lounge he set me on a plush sofa, stalked toward the bar, stopped, and warned, don't move. I'm getting warm milk. The order was gruff, but panic fluttered underneath. The moment he left, Julian appeared, velvet box in hand, and sat opposite. Your CEO's rather protective. He pushed the box toward me. Custom fountain pen, nib engraved with onion. You used to complain standard nibs scratched and clogged on design drafts. German craftsman, 0.38 millimeters, Try it? Inside lay a silver pen, the characters delicate, the grip ridged so it wouldn't slip from fingers that sketched for hours. My throat warmed. He still remembered. I was about to thank him when Lucian returned. Milk in hand, face darker than before. He slammed the warm milk on the table so hard it splashed onto the velvet box. But he acted as if he hadn't noticed. His eyes were locked on the fountain pen in my hand. Designer Shin. If I remember correctly, Caldwell and Shin Group are both bidding on the East District mixed-use project. You're handing my designer a personalized gift right now? Are you trying to bribe her? Julian wiped the milk off the box and answered with a smile. What are you so wound up about? Caldwell, Serena, and I were college roommates. We've done tons of projects together. A fountain pen is just a friendly gesture. Speaking of which, the way you were holding her a minute ago didn't look like a normal working relationship. Haven't gotten around to telling her how you feel? Lucian's ear tips flamed red, but he refused to back down. I'm only concerned she'll accept something inappropriate and drag Caldwell into trouble. He spun toward me, glaring, yet there was a puckered little boy hurt in his eyes. Serena, give the pen back. Company policy, no gifts from bidding partners. He isn't a bidding, I started, but Julian slid the box back to me. Keep it if you like. His rules don't apply to me. He stood, gave me a wink. I'm off to check in with the organizers. Catch up later. The instant Julian walked away, Lucian snatched the pen from my fingers and pitched it into the trash can in one savage motion. I jumped up, panicked. Lucian. Julian had that made especially for me. How dare you toss my things? How dare I? He barked, loud enough to turn heads, then closed the distance and yanked me against him so hard I knew he was scared I'd bolt. Does he know you take 2 sugars in your coffee and no creamer? Does he know you chew every pen cap until it's dented and then make me wash them? Does he know you're afraid of the dark? That you need a nightlight and your teddy on the desk before you can draft at night? His voice cracked. His chin rested on my hair. Between coffee and cedar I could feel his heart racing. Does he know you can't handle spicy food because of your stomach? Yet he drags you out for Szechuan. Does he know you cramp every month and need brown sugar ginger tea? Serena. I know all of it. He doesn't. You're mine. Don't stand so close to him. Don't take his presents. Don't smile at him. Just don't. Press to his chest. Listening to that wild heartbeat, I was mad and amused at once. This iceberg CEO turned out to be a jealous kid who'd actually say, don't smile. I patted his back. I'm not getting close to him, and I don't like him that way. He's just a friend. His body locked, then slowly loosened, though he still gripped my hand. Ears scarlet. He looked away. Who's jealous? I simply don't want him distracting you from work. I couldn't help laughing at the stubborn face. I rescued the pen from the bin, brushed the dust off, and held it out. Still, you can't throw my stuff away. This one's tied to my college memories. He accepted it, fingers gliding over the barrel, then pulled an even sleeker pen from his pocket, matte silver body, a tiny anemone etched on the cap, my initials Hess N engraved below, German import, better specs, 0.38mm nib, no skipping when you sketch. Consider it a bonus for a top employee. The metal still held his warmth, and my heart melted. He'd even remembered my pet peeve about ink starvation. Thanks, boss, I teased. So can I meet Julian from now on? He scowled, but didn't say no. Fine, but I'm coming with you. I need to keep an eye on him. No funny business. I grinned and laced my fingers through his. Deal. Whatever you say. His ears burned hotter, yet he squeezed back and led me toward the lounge. There's strawberry shortcake inside. Saw it earlier. You love that flavor. Watching that stiff, earnest back, I realized this sharp-tongued man had already tucked me inside his heart. All the frost and nitpicking had just been his clumsy way of showing he cared. Once the misunderstanding was cleared, Lucian dropped the mask completely. Every morning he picked me up 30 minutes early. The car held sugar-free mint candies and warm milk calibrated to a drinkable 110 degrees Fahrenheit. At noon he cancelled all lunches out to take me to the little dumpling cart in the old alley. He even learned to wrap them himself. The first batch burst open and he scratched his head, laughing. Next time I'll nail it. Nights he kept me company in the studio. He couldn't read a design draft, but he'd sit quietly poring over contracts while color sorting my used pens. One time I dozed off at 1 a.m. over a sketch. When I woke I was on the sofa under his suit jacket, with a still warm sandwich, milk, and a sticky note. Don't nap on the desk, you'll kink your neck. His insomnia all but vanished when I was around. I woke once to find him watching me, eyes softer than I'd ever seen. Why aren't you asleep? I whispered. He tucked me against him. Looking at you steadies me. I thought sleeplessness was permanent, until I met the one person who makes me feel safe. Of course Rachel wouldn't quit. Furious her scheme had failed. She trashed me online. She sleeps her way up and steals Julian's concepts, complete with our junior year co-op boards, my name cropped off, original by Julian, plus doctored screenshots of me, paying off jurors. Within half an hour my phone melted, reporters, doubting clients, sneering peers. I stared at the venom on screen, hands shaking. Lucian rang. Leave it to me. Stay put. I'm on my way. He arrived in 20 minutes, with a folder, full evidence of Rachel hiring troll farms and fabricating chats, plus a video rebuttal from Julian. In the clip Julian lounged in his studio. The heart of a starry was always Serena's. I only built the model. Her talent stands on its own, no plagiarism, no favors. Don't let rumors fool you. It's handled, Lucian said, rubbing tired eyes. PR issued a denial, posted Rachel's falsified screenshots, and legal mailed her a cease and desist. Anyone else badmouths you, they answer to me. Seeing the red veins in his eyes warmed my heart. He loathes PR firefights, yet he'd stayed up all night. Thanks, Lucian. He rose and wrapped me up. I told you, mine means protected. Rachel's payback was worse than she'd imagined. The smear campaign blew up in her face. Julian forwarded proof that her senior thesis was lifted from a foreign designer. The association revoked her design license. On top of that, Vance's firm, having breached its collaboration agreement with Caldwell, was sued for damages. Add the exposed accounting holes and frozen credit lines, and the company folded. Overnight Rachel went from golden heiress to debt-ridden exile, slinking out of town never to resurface. Later Julian partnered with Caldwell on an old district kids renovation. Lucian recruited him personally. You get healing design. This project needs you. During the job Julian pulled Lucian aside for a talk. When I asked what was said, Lucian muttered, he claims he has 0 designs on you and told me to treat you right. That's all. Also, that I should quit acting like a possessive brat. His ears flamed. He quickly added, site progress looks good. Wraps next week. At the opening Julian invited us to visit. Seeing walls of picture books and a starry ceiling reading nook reminded me of my college dream, a space where kids feel warmth. Thank you, Julian. Thank you, he answered. You reminded me design's purpose is warmth, not fame. I'm focusing on pro bono kids spaces, reading rooms in remote towns so more children feel that warmth. Eventually, he opened a philanthropic children's studio overseas. He still messages me occasional snapshots, sometimes teasing. Here Lucian burned 3 pans learning tomato egg noodles. Much cuter than the iceberg CEO he used to be. He couldn't attend our wedding but couriered a painting, his own watercolor of a starry, with a note, to my old partner, may stars always shine for you, and may someone always have your back. We held the ceremony in the Caldwell atrium, just family and close friends. I wore a simple wedding gown and the anemone bracelet Lucian had made, engraved with our date. He wore a crisp suit and the flax thread bracelet I'd braided, plain. But he never took it off. My wife made it, worth more than any brand. When we exchanged rings Lucian looked me square in the eye. Serena. I used to chase absolute symmetry and flawlessness, thinking anything less was failure. Then you taught me love. Like design doesn't require perfect balance, only 2 hearts committed to the work. From today on I'll sketch every draft you dream of, try every snack you crave, and turn every ordinary day into our kind of perfect. Laughing through tears I answered, Lucian, thank you for walking into my life and proving an iceberg CEO can be downright adorable. Let's spend the rest of it turning our beautifully imperfect life into the most perfect adventure. He brushed my tears away and kissed my forehead, gentle as breath. Overhead the anemone fairy lights glowed yellow, lighting our smiles and every blessing in the room.